we must confront a hard truth. Our liberation movements are under siege from within and without.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Once again, welcome to South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. Please do understand that I'm not a politician. I do not have deep knowledge in politics. However, I am a South African citizen who's also a voter, and I do believe that my views count when it comes to political affairs of our super gorgeous country. Nothing makes me happy than seeing the politicians weeping, because they're basically weeping with that their summit. Because where have you been? So many years we have been complaining as your people in different countries, right? I'm just going to talk about your Zimbabwe, Mozambique, South Africa, you know, the ones that I've really been following like that, seeing our problems, Sada. So when I saw them weeping like that, I was like a good shot, because for me that was the gathering of realization that if you don't change with the times will change situations around you and you'll be left behind. Because if you refuse to be part of the change will still happen without you. And because you have not changed, you become irrelevant. That's what is happening with liberation movements. They've been so corrupt over so many years, self-serving. We've been complaining. They have not been listening. And now a new type of leadership is coming up. The new type of politics is coming up. So they are becoming irrelevant. They are busy pointing here and there. I'm going to share the video clips with you. They are busy pointing that they are being attacked. Am I saying they are not being attacked? Of course I see it, especially with the ANC. The party that is really hammering the ANC from outside South Africa is the Republicans in that America. So the ANC is under attack. But here's the thing. If you are being attacked and you have the people with you, that attack might not see the success. But because you are unrelatable to your own people that you are supposed to lead, it is very easy for you to be taken down. I'm telling you. Yay! I don't know about money. It stresses my sugar. And I'm here thinking, you know, we've been complaining over so many years and nobody's listening to us. And even up to now, I don't see how they are listening to us, because it is all good when ZANU-PF says now they are going to take care of their youth. It's even a disgrace when they say now. Like, what were you thinking all along? You see, we are a generation of parents that never zabalazad. You know, as a zabalazad. We were not part of this thing, but our parents did. So, first of all, you are dealing with us who don't know how to feel like being on the front line fighting against apartheid, right? And now we have our own children who are finding their own path in this life. They are in varsity, some of them, they just started working, and you are becoming irrelevant to us because we don't know what you're talking. Talk less our children. You see, as a parent of young adults myself, because my children are young adults, the other one is started working, the other one is in varsity. So I'm looking at this whole thing like, if we go on with the ANC like that, where are we supposed to go with our children? Where are they supposed to live their lives? Where will their children live their lives if the country is deteriorating under quote unquote the liberation movement? Like, we don't care anymore. We just want a South Africa that is functional, a South Africa that is in order, a South Africa that doesn't look so on autopilot as it is at the moment. So when I looked at them in their gathering weeping with Mnangagwa saying we must never lose power, we must never, there are forces outside that are fighting us. Those forces wouldn't see success if you did what you were supposed to do as a liberation movement. Why have you rendered yourself useless? Why have you rendered yourself irrelevant when you had all the support of the people over so many years? It is even disgraceful for the ANC that it has dropped from such big numbers as the liberation movement to what it is today. I was also looking at the Untied, the show, the Untied, especially the episode of Noma Mngoma. And they said the wedding was just no, not so bad. It was around 4 million, as the interviewer there. And for Noma to tell us that she had a 4 million rand wedding. And I'm thinking, this is the wife of the minister. Are they supposed to have so much money that they squander on weddings easily like that? Because he said her husband gave her that wedding. He allowed her to have such a wedding. And I thought to myself, how many of the people who are leading us are squandering money like that at different levels, even beyond that 4 million rand for that wedding? And these people are coming out to say, okay, we are being attacked. We would defend you. As the people that you are leading, we would defend you against such things. We would be fighting with you against such things. So you left us with no substance in our hands to defend you. What have you given us in our hands? What do we have? What do we have? We can hardly recognize the country we grew up in, the way it is at this moment. So for them to gather their pity party event, yeah, it makes me so happy. Their pity party event. It makes me so happy because they can feel. They are feeling the heat. Where have they been all along? It is even so. I had even President Cyril Ramaphosa. Our liberation movements are being attacked. We would have your back if you had our back. But now you are allowing yourself to be stripped naked like that and without our support. And anything can happen to you. There's a chance that we'll be reading in the books that there was once the mighty ANC, the mighty ZANU-PF, the mighty Frelimo, because of how they abused the power, the opportunity that we gave them through our votes. Like, now the ANC, I don't even trust the ANC in the election rigging, in the coming elections. Because the way they are moving is super suspicious. Oh my goodness. And it is so sad when you are the person that has voted for the ANC I loved the ANC. Even though I never zabalazed, but I loved the ANC. So it is so sad for us to come out here and criticize them and be able to speak the truth. Also, on that, credit to them, because now we have a freedom of speech, freedom of expression that we wouldn't have. But we cannot be using that in the lives that we are living now. So anyway, guys, since you are watched up to here, I would like to say Nkosi kakhulu. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you watching those video clips. I'm not going to be coming back with more commentary because I've said a lot already. Anyway, do share your views in the comment section. I'm looking forward to reading those. And if time allows me, I'm certainly going to respond. But if it doesn't, I'm going to react to show that I appreciate your participation in my channel. I know that there are still comments that I still owe a reaction to. I'm going to try by all possible means to reach them later in the day. And the next time you bump into my videos, kindly watch my ads in full, as that support really goes a long way. That's if you're on Wi-Fi and you have the time to do so. And to those who are already watching my ads in full, I would like to say Nkosini kakhulu guys, ndiyabulela ningadenwa nangomso. Do have yourself a fruitful Monday.
Counter-revolutionary forces have doubled up antics to divide and fragment our movements. They are unrelenting in their nefarious quest to obliterate the liberation of movements from the political radar of our region. However, we must remain emboldened by our rich liberation history, which is our greatest teacher. The millions of people who look to liberation movements with hope for a better tomorrow should be a source of inspiration for us. Our democracy, freedom and independence did not come on a silver platter. The infrastructure that denied us democracy and independence has muted and expresses itself in numerous forms. These include through interference in the internal affairs of our parties and governments, sabotage of our economies, and at worst, covert support of conflict and war in our jurisdictions. We cannot be complacent. Robust and fluid strategies are necessary to guarantee the perpetuity of our people-centered governance. We defeated them in the past, and we shall defeat them again and again and again in future. Through our unity and unbreakable solidarity, victory is and shall remain certain. Our synergies and collaboration must be bold and purposeful, while the exchange of ideas and perspectives among our parties should be responsive and honest to the realities we face. We are people-centered. Colossal revolutionary mass parties. In honor of the many departed gallant sons and daughters of our region who fought against colonialism, apartheid, and oppression, we can never give up. We have a sacred duty and responsibility to retain power for the purpose of advancing the people's agenda. This is what our heroes fought for. We should never allow ourselves to lose power. We must look into the future with confidence and optimism, with the people and our countries being masters of our own destinies under the banner of our liberation movements.
Well, we take back a message of hope in that old friends from the trenches of the liberation war in the 60s, 70s, and 80s have refound a new purpose. And this time it is delivering expectations of palpable prosperity to the young generation. We do face, as has been mentioned by President Cyril Ramaphosa, the challenge of the youth bulge in our populations, and they expect modernization, they expect urbanization so that it can deliver jobs. And if we actually deliver on jobs through urbanization, through modernization, we fulfill the expectations of those who sacrifice, because people don't sacrifice for the sake of a party or a leader or a flag. They sacrifice for the prospect of a better life as a reward for their sacrifices.
Yeah.
So we in Zimbabwe, we are focused very much on the youth and how we can make them become successful citizens who can produce goods and services for a modern economy, not only the national economy, not only the regional economy, but also for the global economy. This is where ZANU-PF is going.
All right. When President Mnangagwa says his government will be people-centered, that promise is something that the ZANU-PF party should have been living by in any case, because it is the people of Zimbabwe that have put you where you are as a governing party. So
Yes.
what does that mean in practice?
Well, in practice, it means that we align our resources to our people, which we have done. The land has been given back to our people. And you can see even this year, we have notched 360 million kilograms of gold and leaf tobacco in Zimbabwe, which is a third more than even at the height of the colonial era. And the quality is very, very high, and the price is more than $4, $3 to $4 a kilo. This means about $1 billion going into rural farmers in Zimbabwe, of which the most producers are SMEs. 80% of that turnover of 1 billion has gone to our people in rural areas.
Yeah.
We also go further to the gold sector. You know, in Zimbabwe, people don't know. Unlike in South Africa, your gold is DPA and the rand. In Zimbabwe, gold is everywhere, literally everywhere. And we have allowed young people to dig gold since 2016. And you will be happy to know that SME gold mining now produces more than 30 to 40 tons of gold per annum. And this is $2 to $3 billion being pocketed by young people digging gold in Zimbabwe. So when our currency, the Zimbabwe dollar, is now being traded in the global marketplace, it is backed by gold.
Yeah.
In fact, you will be happy to know that on the current account, Zimbabwe is in the black. You don't need to fill any forms in Zimbabwe to get US dollars. You just go into the street and you buy them. You go into the bank, you buy. The US dollars are not given for free by the American government. When you have them in America, you've worked for them. When you have US dollars in Zimbabwe, you've also worked for them. And this is the reality of Zimbabwe, that these two major economic endeavors, gold and leaf tobacco, are actually the drivers of our national economic resurgence, of which most of it is SME-centered. And I speak on authority because my wife, Monica Mchangwa, is actually the Minister of SMEs.
Yeah.
She is really excited about what's happening with the SME sector in Zimbabwe.
We must confront a hard truth. Our liberation movements are under siege from within and without. Most of our movements are having to contend with declining electoral support, shifting demographics, frustrated young people in our various countries, economic inequality, and foreign interference. These trends speak to a deeper crisis, the disconnect between our founding narratives and the lived realities of a new generation of young people. It is a generation that sees and appreciates less of our past victories and more of our present shortcomings. It is a generation that demands jobs, justice, dignity, housing, education, health, and security, and sees our movements as distant, rigid, and slow to adapt. This disconnect amongst the population emboldens the external attacks on our sovereignty, our independence, our development, and security. In fact, there has been ample evidence that international actors use the legitimate grievances of our people to attack progressive governments. We have seen a revival of the forces of unilateralism, neocolonialism, and imperial extraction. There is a renewed offensive against transformation, progressive policies, and multilateralism, and a re-weaponization of global institutions, and a deliberate effort to divide and control Africa through transactional diplomacy and economic coercion.